Hello and welcome everyone to Ananke's Festival of Literature. I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome these three amazing thinkers, trailblazers, uh, Ministhy S, Sheela Tomy, and Sonia Rafeek. So this is in alphabetical order. I always make it a point to make it in alphabetical order. Today's session celebrates our beautiful lilting languages of South Asia. And today we talk about these amazing women who are writing in Malayalam, and we're going to talk about translations. Um, and you know, let me begin with the introduction. Ministhy S is an IAS officer working in the Uttar Pradesh cadre. In her civil services career, she has received various awards for excellence in governance, including the Hindustan Times Woman of the Year in 2014, and the Sunday Standard Devi Award in 2016. XLRI Jamshedpur gave her the Distinguished Alumnus Award in 2014. She translates between three languages: Malayalam, English, and Hindi. Her translations have featured in the Green Literature Festival Longlist, JCB Shortlist, Crossword Book Jury Award Shortlist, and the DSC Prize for South Asian Literature Longlist. Apart from these, she has translated Do Not Ask the River Her Name by Sheela Tomy, published by HarperCollins in 2024. Nareshwaran by VJ James, published by Penguin Random House in 2022, and the Book of Exodus by VJ James, published by Penguin Random House 2024. She has done English transliteration of 4 cantos: Sundar Kanda, Krishakanda, Kanda, Arya.
Yeah, I'll help you out.
Yeah,
Sundar Kanda, Kishkinda Kanda, Aranya Kanda, and Lanka Kanda. It's from Sri Ramcharitamanas by Tulsidas Ji. This is from Awadhi language, a dialect of Hindi to English. Thank you.
Thank you. And a few more translations that I am looking forward to are to be published in the year 2025. So welcome, Ministry.
Thank you.
Sheela Tomy is a novelist and short story writer hailing from Sheela, Wayanad, Kerala. She writes in her mother tongue, Malayalam. Vali, her debut novel, was awarded the renowned Cherukad Award for Malayalam Literature in 2021. English translation of Wali by Dr. Jayasiri Kalathil bagged V. Abdullah Memorial Translation Prize, jury commendation from Muse India GSP Rao Translation Award, and the Book of the Year for translation by the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry in 2023. Wali was shortlisted for many awards, including the JCB Prize for Literature, American Literary Translation Association National Translation Award, the Atta Galata BLF Book Prize, and the Green LitFest Honor Books Award. Her second novel, Sheela, if you can pronounce that. Depicting struggles of Palestinian people, was awarded the Muthukulam Parvati Amma Literature Prize and Manyoor Balan Novel Award in 2024. Apologies if I'm pronouncing anything.
No, it's amazing to hear you speak those words. Yeah.
I'm so glad. This novel was translated into English by Ministry S, IAS, as Do Not Ask the River Her Name. I love the name, but of course, that's the translation, but I really, I really want to read this book. Sheela is also the author of 2 short story collections, And Sheela, please help me out with this. The
മെൽക്കിയാഡിസിന്റെ പ്രളയ പുസ്തകം, കിളിനോച്ചിയിലെ ശലഭങ്ങൾ.
She has won several recognitions from the Middle East for her short stories. Sheela has been residing in the Middle East for more than 2 decades. She has a postgraduate degree in journalism and mass communication and has contributed as a lyricist, scriptwriter for radios, and presenter of literary reviews. She has been invited as a speaker in many literature festivals, including Jaipur Literature Festival, Bhutan Echoes, and Kerala Literature Festival. Other notable achievements include the Madhyamam SheQ Excellence Award and KCBC Media Award for Literature. So welcome, Sheela.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sonia Rafeek, last but certainly not the least, is a UAE-based Malayalam short story writer, novelist, and translator. Her debut novel, Herbarium secured the prestigious 2016 DC Books Literature Award and the
Nooranad Hanif
Award in 2018. Herbarium is also a part of the Bachelor's of Arts in Malayalam Literature curriculum at Kerala University. Her other recognition include Palm. In fact, help me out, Sonia.
Aksharatulika.
Palm Aksharatulika Award, Bhavna Award, Darshana no, help me out.
It is so sweet to hear Malayalam from your tongue. Yeah.
Indian Association Best Novel Award. Sonia's latest novel, which is House of Girls. Sonia, you can help me.
Penkuttigalude Veedu.
Speaks about the fascinating life stories of Emirati women in the early 1950s. Her translation include short stories of Kate Chopin, Clarice Lispector. Yeah, sorry about that. Biographical notes of Marguerite Duras, Virginia Woolf, Elif Shafak's The Architect Apprentice, and The Island of Missing Trees. She is a native of the district in Kerala. She has acquired a postgraduate degree in plant pathology from Kerala Agriculture University, which is so interesting, Sonia. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I make it a point, that all the pronunciations are, we know how a word feels like or a title feels like in it, so that's why, I wanted you guys to pronounce it. It's always beautiful to hear. So the idea for this panel that we discussed was, we wanted to celebrate the Malayalam language, and to show just a few lines about what we are trying to do. It began with, the ideas and words and stories, they're catalysts of change. They are evolutionary from the hieroglyphics of old, that are carved in stone, the subversively or otherwise crafted written word, to now the captivating animated realm of Generation Z and Generation Alpha. Different forms of language have played a transformative role on culture and society, and how we think and move forward in life as an individual or as part of a society. We're deeply, deeply influenced, by the information and stories we receive, we read, we hear, and we witness in diverse forms of expression. Because expression for me, honestly, it is language. Keeping this in mind, Ananke's Festival of Literature unveils this special series, which is the first of its kind, celebrating the cultural diversity and excellence of South Asian languages. So with that, I hand over the baton to Ministry. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sabin. Thank you, in fact, on behalf of all of us, for inviting the beautiful mother tongue, our mother tongue, Malayalam, to be part of this prestigious LitFest, in which you're celebrating women and their voices and their power. More power to you. So I have had the good fortune of translating these two brilliant writers. Sheela Tommy's one book, Nadiyodu Peri Chodikirada. I have had the good fortune of translating it. HarperCollins published it as Do Not Ask. There was her name. I'd like to show you the original book. Sheela, you have the original, you can show it. And this is the translation. And Sonia's book, again, I have been very fortunate to translate two of her books. Sonia, can you show the original of Herbarium as well as Penkuttikalde Veeda? Yes. These are the books. And in fact, if you can take a close look, you understand that the cover page of her edition of Herbarium is different from mine. That shows how popular these books are, And probably within the next 2 months, both of these books will be coming out in English. So congrats to you, dear. So I'm curious when I encounter women writing to know what inspires them. So my first question to both of you, Sheila, will start with you, is what made you a writer? And what does writing mean to you? Not just as a human being, but as a woman, what does writing mean to you? And how does Ananke and its LitFest and its theme of women and languages appeal to you? If you can hear from you.
Good morning to all. And it's a wonderful opportunity to be here with my dear friends Sonia and Ministry to participate in this session of Ananke Literature Festival. And first of all, we should, as Ministry said, we should congratulate Ananke for bringing out our mother tongue, Malayalam, to the, and along with all other South Asian languages, to the attention of the audience. And we are so thankful to Sabin and her team for that. And as said, ഞാൻ എങ്ങനെ എഴുത്തുകാരിയായി, I'm speaking in Malayalam.
Absolutely.
എങ്ങനെ എഴുത്തുകാരിയായി എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചാല് ഞാനൊരു പുസ്തകങ്ങളോടുള്ള എൻ്റെ ഇഷ്ടം, വായനയോടുള്ള എൻ്റെ ഇഷ്ടം, അതാണ് എന്നെ ഒരു എഴുത്തുകാരിയാക്കിയതെന്ന് പറയാം. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എൻ്റെ നാടാണ് എന്നെ എഴുത്തുകാരിയാക്കിയതെന്ന് പറയാം. നാട് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാല് വയനാട്, ഞാൻ ജനിച്ചു വളർന്ന നാട്. I loved books since my childhood. Like, I was always fond with a book. And, I think that passion for reading made me a writer, as I said.
Okay.
And also, when we speak about Wayanad, you all know that it's a very beautiful land, a rich land rich with biodiversity, and it's a special, ഒരു പ്രത്യേക ഒരു ഭൂപ്രദേശം എന്ന് പറയാം. It consists of all the, migrant people who migrated from all over Kerala and even from Karnataka, Mysore, and even from Tamil Nadu and all. It's a mixed culture. And usually in Wayanad, we, when we see one another, we ask them, Edu Natina? Like, where are you coming from? In no other part in Kerala, I think we will ask Edu Natina, because that is our land. Or our land.
Right.
I started to write. How did I become writer? I think, I started to write even in my childhood, in my school days. And my teachers encouraged me a lot. And I am really thankful to them for making me a writer later on in my life, because that seed was, ആ വിത്ത് നമ്മൾ ആ കുട്ടിയായിരിക്കുമ്പോ തന്നെ നമ്മുടെ ഉള്ളില് എഴുത്തിനോടുള്ള ഇഷ്ടം അവര് നിക്ഷേപിച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. And I started writing whenever I feel lonely, to overcome the loneliness, and whenever I feel sad.
I can see Sonia smile. So
yeah.
so
And
great.
right there in Gulf, in the Middle East, we can understand what is this loneliness means. We are far away from our homeland. We are far away from our dear ones. And we are missing a lot of things. And so out of that, and sometimes when I wanted to, react or respond to something which is happening in our society, whenever we some injustice, whenever we some sorrows of other people, we want to react. And, I think writing was my way of
Very
expression.
natural way of,
Yeah, natural way of expression. And regarding Ananke, as I said earlier, we grew up in a society where women's voice is suppressed, and especially our generation, and we are not allowed to speak loudly, isn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
In that place, therefore, whenever we celebrate womanhood, in a literature festival or otherwise, it's really wonderful. And I think it's very meaningful. We are making the marginalized voices heard. And we are representing not only, 3 writers or 3, women. We are representing all the women in the world, wherever they are staying, whose voices are suppressed. And we have a platform here to speak for them and stand for them. I think that is the beauty of this session. I think
That's lovely.
പിന്നെ കൂടുതൽ പറയാം അല്ലേ?
Thank you, dear. Now, the same question to you, Sonia. What made you a writer, and what does writing mean to you, and how does this platform appeal to you?
Good morning to everyone. First of all, I thank Sabin for creating this wonderful, wonderful platform so that we 3 can come together and speak of our journeys. So thank you, Sabin. Thank you so much. And thank you to Ananke also. And regarding my writing to me is like, it's like building bridges. Bridges between people and ideas, between the past and the future, past and the present, and even between myself and the wider world. That's how I connect. That's how I build bridges. Basically, I write because I don't know how to exist fully without it. എൻ്റെ നിലനിൽപ്പ് തന്നെ എഴുത്തിലാണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയിലാണ് ഇപ്പോൾ. Like Sheela said, books fascinated me from a very young age. And during school, I would quietly scribble poems, though I never found the courage to share them. And ധൈര്യം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നില്ല. Because ഇത് കവിതയാണോ, കഥയാണോ, I didn't know what I was writing. So writing became a serious pursuit in my 30s after I moved to UAE. പ്രവാസി ആയതിനു ശേഷം പ്രവാസത്തിന്റെ എല്ലാവിധ അപരിചിതത്വങ്ങളും അനാഥത്വങ്ങളും ഏകാന്തതയും ഒക്കെയാണ് എന്നെ എഴുത്തുകാരിയാക്കിയതെന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. In many ways, it was the experience of the diaspora that shaped me into a writer in the truest sense, because it gave me the distance and clarity to reflect and to search and express. It was an entirely new world, actually. And another thing is that എനിക്ക് എഴുതാനുള്ള സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം, it gave me freedom also from so many things, because I always feel that I'm little restricted or constricted whenever I'm in India, whenever I'm in a place. But the freedom which I get there is amazing. And also, that phase of diaspora, pravasam, it deepened my reading also. It was like something unlocked within me. Stories started to form, and I began writing short stories. I started off as a short story writer, and eventually I ventured into novels. And later, tried my hand in translations too. So, writing brings me alive. എന്നെ സോണിയ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഒരു വ്യക്തിയായിട്ട് നിലനിർത്തുന്നത് തന്നെ എഴുത്താണെന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ പറയാം. It's where I feel most like myself. When I'm not writing, I feel unsettled, disconnected. I'm a very bad woman. And the non-writing version of me frustrates and infuriates my soul. So writing to me is not just a passion. It has become almost like a necessity to keep to thrive. So that is the way how I navigate my way in this world. And
Wonderful.
regarding the Ananke festival, it is actually I'm truly honored because I know Sheela Tomy's book is already been released, and she has got so many awards, and everybody she has English readers, but my book is yet to be released. So this platform is very actually I'm honored to be a part of this esteemed literature festival as a writer. I have read the brochure about Ananke's activities, and these initiatives are really effective, useful for empowering women. And I think it is providing a nurturing platform to explore. Because Sheila was telling, സംസാരിക്കാൻ പോലും ശബ്ദം ഉയർത്താൻ പാടില്ലാത്ത സ്ത്രീകൾ. I was thinking, ശബ്ദം ഉയർത്താൻ പാടില്ല എന്നുള്ളതല്ല, ഉള്ളത് കൂടാതെ ചിരിക്കാനോ കരയാനോ പോലും അടക്കി പിടിച്ച് കരയുന്നവരാണ് സ്ത്രീകൾ. Even their not only their sounds, their laughters, their cries are all suppressed. So in such a world, these kind of initiatives provide a very free platform. It is a great source of inspiration. So being a part of this vibrant festival, it's an extraordinary opportunity to engage in meaningful discourse. With I think a lot of women from different cultural backgrounds will be participating in it, and it is actually a platform to connect with fellow writers and to understand their literary landscapes. And I look forward to sharing my work in our further talk.
Yeah. Both of you, just reminded me of an anecdote, which will take us to the next question. Both of you spoke about not being confident enough when you write, power of an encouraging word from a teacher, feeling unsettled and feeling that, when I'm not writing, which is your true calling, you feeling that you're not doing justice to your own soul, building bridges, the voice of, just wanted to just share an anecdote which I read about a very famous Hindi writer called Shivani, Gaura Pandey. She's the mother of Mrinal Pandey and Neera Pandey, very famous journalists and writers themselves. So when her husband died, she was a Kumaoni Brahmin, Shivani. She wrote about women in prisons, Aparadhini, lots of books. But I felt enchanted by the book Aparadhini, stories of women prisoners. So when her husband died, Shivani went to All India Radio because she used to read out the short stories. She went to All India Radio and read a short story and came back. Then immediately the voice, no, your husband just passed away. How can you go and read a story, something so frivolous as this? And a woman. So her answer to me stands as an epitome of why women write, or why women sing, or why women cry, or what we do. She said, it's these 15 minutes when I read, which gives me the energy to handle the troubles of the rest of the day. It is my safe space. It's my sanity. Don't deny me that. And that her daughter wrote down of her mother's, explanation, and I found that so dignified, so beautiful. That we have to explain to the world what makes you alive. Like Sonia said, you said, Sheela. So connecting it back, I'll ask you the next question which I've got. I want both of you to speak about your books, books which are close to your heart, your first book, your second book, or the book which you're right now writing, a short story which you love from you, because both of you have a great repertoire of writing. Something very close to your heart, and how it has been received by the audience, So a part of what makes you come alive is also, maybe Sheela, your book has won a lot of awards in English translation. So readership, whatever it is that connects you to the audience, your books, the themes you write about, the themes which you want to explore further. So Sonia, let's start off reverse round.
Okay.
Over to you.
Yeah, my first book is Herbarium. It is actually an eco-fiction novel. Actually, before Herbarium, I used to write short stories. I started off as a short story writer. I have released 3 short story collections. Herbarium is my second novel, for which I got the DC Nobel Puraskaram. It is an eco-fiction novel, and basically it highlights the need to love and conserve nature. And it is a story of a 9-year-old boy, how he gets transformed. He's a boy who is addicted to video games, and how he gets transformed into an ardent nature lover. The story revolves around the life of a 9-year-old boy. Tippu എന്നാണ് അവന്റെ പേര്. The boy's name is Tippu, and he has grown up in Dubai. He's a Dubai NRI kid. He was living there with his parents. And Tippu's mother, whose name is Fatima, is a great nature lover. And suddenly one day she goes missing. And during the family's weekend trip in a lonely desert oasis. So after that, Tippu gets transplanted, just like a seedling. He gets transplanted to his maternal home in Kerala. And the sudden disappearance of Fatima near the oasis, it remains a mystery throughout the novel. And the notes which are left behind by Fatima only shows her presence. That's the only presence of Fatima in the novel. So the book is actually a mirror which reflects womanhood and nature. And Fatima herself is nature. What motivated me to write is basically my experience with my agriculture degree, and how I have spent my 7 years during BSc and MSc period in my college. And that is actually the main inspiration. And this is Herbarium, and Ministry has translated it wonderfully, and it will be coming out in the next 2 months. My second novel is Penkuttigalude Veedu, which translates to House of Girls. Penkuttigalude Veedu is actually a story which is based in Dubai. It tells the story of Arab women who lived in the Gold Souk area, the Dera Gold Souk area during 1950s. These women, these Arab sisters, they remained unmarried throughout their lives, and they earned their living through small-scale businesses like selling spices in the souk, stitching wedding robes, doing embroidery, etc. So after their death, their house was transformed to a women's museum. It was taken up under private ownership in 2014, and it still remains in the Dera Gold Souk. Anybody who goes there can visit. And my trigger to write this novel came after visiting this museum. The novel basically portrays the history of UAE as well, and in particular, it speaks about the evolution of the place, how this place got transformed from a place where men lived by doing small-scale businesses like fishing and doing some small-scale jobs like pearl diving, and how the place came to be transformed as the Venice of the Gulf. ദുബായിയുടെ ഒരു മാറ്റം 1950 കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ നിന്നും ഇപ്പോൾ നാം കാണുന്ന പളപളപ്പുള്ള ദുബായിലേക്ക് എങ്ങനെ എത്തിപ്പെട്ടു എന്നുള്ളതിന്റെ ഒരു ചരിത്രം കൂടിയാണ് ഈ പുസ്തകം പറയുന്നത്. അതിന്റെ കൂടെ ഈ 3 സ്ത്രീകളുടെ ജീവിതം കൂടി പറഞ്ഞു പോകുന്നു. And actually the evolution of the place from a coastal town to a place called the Venice of the Gulf. So I have woven in the myths which prevailed during those times in 1940s and 50s. The myths like കെട്ടുകഥകള്, കടങ്കഥകള്, പേടിപ്പെടുത്തുന്ന ജിന്നുകളുടെ കഥകള്, ഇതൊക്കെ ഇൻക്ലൂഡ് ചെയ്താണ് ഈ നോവൽ ഒരുക്കിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. It basically gives an idea about the culture, the sentiments of the people who lived during those times. So, and if you think it in another way, it's actually a dedication to the nation where I lived for a long time. It's almost 18 years ഞാൻ പ്രവാസത്തിൽ ഏർപ്പെട്ടിട്ട്. അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഡെഡിക്കേഷൻ കൂടിയാണ് എന്ന് വേണമെങ്കിൽ കരുതാം. അതുകൂടാതെ ട്രാൻസ്ലേഷൻസും ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. അത് I think I will talk about it later.
Right. So when I was translating House of Girls, and Herbarium, my experience was Herbarium. When you were speaking about the mother-son relation, I thought almost as if you were inspired by your relationship with your son, because that is how sometimes we draw inspiration from. The naughtiness, give him a proper whack when he's not listening. I could actually, relate back to, we bringing up our children sometimes. And the most enchanting part was Tipu's, discovery of his mom in all the nuances of nature. And the lovely notes Fatima leaves behind. Hopefully, that book will be out to delight the reader soon. And House of Girls, how you're woven in the same narrative of the Arabian tales, all the stories from different parts of the world through one of the characters, Shamsa. I like the vibrant character called Uma William, the English woman who, literally becomes like a family member and speaks about the sensitive reader. She sorts of symbolizes for me the sensitive reader who is open and willing and generous enough to understand and accept all the cultures of the world. So I'm looking forward to that publication as well. Thank you, Sonia. Now I'll ask the same question to Sheela. Tell us about your books, your latest books, books which appeal to your heart, and your books which have won a lot of awards. Tell us about them.
Actually, this is my first collection of short stories. This has been published in 2012. And
Yes.
this is
and for the reader, I would like to interrupt.
Yeah.
It is called Melquiades in the Pralaya Pustakam, and the name is inspired by Marques's. You can tell about that.
Yeah. Melquiades in the Pralaya Pustakam. This is one of the short story in this collection. And this Melquiades is Marquesinde Makonda and the Parana Nagaratile Kitanari Gypsy de Peran, Melquiades in or another. Padile short story, actually, that that gypsy is a character, not as a character, but I am adopting that Melquiades story inside this. And this is the latest short story collection, which has been published, Kilinochi Le Shalabhangal. And in between those two, I have these two books, Valli and Anadiyoda Perichodikirda. These are two novels, and these are beautifully translated to English by two able translators, two brilliant translators, Jayasri Kalathil and my dear friend Ministhy.
Thank you.
I'm so thankful to my translators for taking my word across the world. And because, as Sonia said before, now I'm getting a lot of readers out of Kerala that is, I think, that's a great opportunity that our voices are heard, beyond our borders or across all over India or beyond the seas. And also, I told you that I started writing, my childhood, during my childhood. And after my college days, as Sonia said, നമ്മളെ ജീവിതത്തിലെ എല്ലാ പ്രാരാബ്ദങ്ങളും ഒരു സ്ത്രീ എന്ന നിലയിലുള്ള ജീവിതത്തിലുള്ള എല്ലാ ഭാരങ്ങളും ചുമന്നുകൊണ്ട് നമ്മൾ നടക്കുമ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ ഇഷ്ടത്തിനുള്ള സമയം നമ്മൾ ഏറ്റവും അവസാനത്തേക്കായിരിക്കും വെച്ചിട്ടുണ്ടാവുക. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഒരു സമയം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു എൻ്റെ ലൈഫിൽ. Writing was my last priority, but books were always with me, like as my friends. So this novel Valli, this has been with me I think for more than 20 years. I thought of writing
it was inside your heart. Yes.
Yeah, it was there in my heart. And as I said before, it's about the life in Wayanad, about the migrant people in Wayanad, and about the Aboriginal people in Wayanad. Because I was born and brought up in a village, in a migrant village in Wayanad, and my grandparents came from Tiruvidampur, from the south of Kerala to Wayanad,
yes,
in 1940s. And in my childhood, I grew up listening to their stories of struggles for survival. And also I witnessed so many, the sufferings of the people around me. And even, all my grandparents and my uncles, all were farmers. And the farming life in Kerala, in Wayanad it was very uncertain. It depended on many factors like the weather and, the animal attacks and
Yes.
always they were in debts, and, it was very difficult for them to, earn a living or, and we usually say that in Wayanad is during our childhood and even before that, nobody had time to read a book or, write, because, all their
It is considered a luxury.
yeah, it was considered a luxury. And in my childhood, I have never met a poet or a writer. I saw them only during my college days when I came to Kannur for my engineering studies. Then that was the first time when I met a poet who visited the campus and recited some poems and all. And I wanted to, when I wanted to write about my land, and I started writing it in 2015, and when my children grew up, and it was a long journey. Like it took 3 to 4 years to complete that novel, and I had to go back, even though my land and my people and their stories, all the myths, all the history, everything is there within me. I had to do thorough research to get, because I'm talking about the Paniya tribe,
Right.
Paniya Adivasi people in the novel, along with the migrant people. Then I had to, learn their language. I had to talk with them, and I had to assimilate their, customs, how they live, and how they, react to the realities of their life. And those people are still fighting for their piece of land. They were the owners of the forest. We can say they were the true owners of the forest, but now they don't have a piece of land to live or to make their living. And so that was not an easy task to write about them truthfully, to like
Yes.
yeah. നമുക്ക് നമ്മുടെ സങ്കടങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ച് എഴുതാം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ അനുഭവിച്ച, അല്ല എൻ്റെ പൂർവികർ അനുഭവിച്ച സങ്കടങ്ങളെ കുറിച്ചൊക്കെ എഴുതാം. അത് നമ്മൾ അറിയുന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷെ നമ്മുടെ ചുറ്റുമുള്ള അരികുവൽക്കരിക്കപ്പെട്ട മനുഷ്യരെ കുറിച്ച് നമ്മൾ എഴുതുമ്പോൾ we don't know actually what they experience. So it is not an easy task. And after publishing it and after translating it into English, actually it was well accepted by the grace of God. And I got so many readers and so many awards, as you have mentioned. And it was really an inspiration to move on to start my new novel. And my second novel, ആ നദിയോട് പേര് ചോദിക്കരുത്, which was beautifully translated by Ministhy. And this is, I wanted to write about the women who are traveling out of our country to search for a job, to make their leaving behind their dear ones. As Sonia said, I was living with my family for more than 2 decades in the Gulf, and I have met so many women who are struggling, with their housemates, nurses, and other office workers who are, they came, അവരുടെ എല്ലാവരും പ്രിയപ്പെട്ടവരെല്ലാം അവരുടെ മക്കൾ പോലും നാട്ടിലായിരിക്കും. I and Sonia had the luxury to stay with our family. We had, as Sonia said, we had peace of mind, and അതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമുക്ക് എഴുതാൻ പറ്റിയെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ. But these women, they are struggling actually, they are missing the beautiful part of life, which they really wanted to spend with their family. But അങ്ങനെയുള്ള ലേഡീസിനെ കുറിച്ച് എഴുതണം എന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചിട്ടാണ് ഞാൻ ആ നദിയോട് പേര് ചോദിക്കരുത് എഴുതി തുടങ്ങുന്നത്. It was a journey of a nurse to Middle East, and then she traveled to Israel. Then what happened is that complete focus of my novel shifted to Palestine conflict. That happened because, I have been working with so many Arabs, Jordanis, Palestinians, Sudan people, and during my stay there in Qatar, I understood the sufferings they are undergoing. We have a homeland, and one of my friend, as I have mentioned in the preface of my novel, when she lost her job, she was saying, "I have no place to go with my children. You have a land waiting for you. You have your dear ones waiting for you." And she was saying her sorrows and her sorrowful childhood in refugee camps. And that time I was writing about Ruth, my nurse, her struggles for life. And എനിക്ക് മനസ്സിലായി റൂത്തിന്റെ സങ്കടങ്ങൾ ഒന്നുമല്ല ഈ മുന എന്ന് പറയുന്ന എന്റെ സഹപ്രവർത്തകയുടെ സങ്കടങ്ങൾ വെച്ച് നോക്കുമ്പോൾ ദ പീപ്പിൾ വിത്തൗട്ട് എ ലാൻഡ്, ദ പീപ്പിൾ വിത്ത് നത്തിങ് ടു എക്സ്പെക്ട്, അവർക്ക് ഒരിക്കലും അവരുടെ നാട്ടിലേക്ക് തിരിച്ചു പോകാൻ പറ്റില്ല. അങ്ങനെ ആ സമയത്ത് ശരിക്കും നമുക്കറിയാം ഇസ്രായേൽ പലസ്തീൻ പ്രശ്നം തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് ഒരു നൂറ്റാണ്ടായി. ശരിക്കും 1948 ഇസ്രായേൽ രാജ്യം രൂപീകരിക്കപ്പെടുന്നതിനും ഒരുപാട് നാളുകൾക്ക് മുമ്പ്, ഇൻ 1896 ജൂതരാഷ്ട്രം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ആ പുസ്തകം തിയഡർ ഹസ്സൽ എഴുതിയ സമയം മുതൽ അങ്ങോട്ട് ഇസ്രായേലിലേക്കുള്ള പല സ്ഥലങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നും പീഡിപ്പിക്കപ്പെട്ട ജൂതരുടെ സ്വന്തം നാട്ടിലേക്കുള്ള ആ കുടിയേറ്റം തുടങ്ങിയ സമയം മുതൽ അവിടെ പലസ്തീനിലുള്ള മനുഷ്യർക്ക് അവരുടെ ഭൂമി നഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ തുടങ്ങി, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ ജീവിതങ്ങൾ നഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം അതിന്റെ ഒരു പാരമ്യമാണ് ഇൻ 1948 more than 7 lakhs of people were displaced from Palestine, and those people are അവരിപ്പോഴും അവരുടെ സങ്കടകരമായ യാത്ര ഇപ്പോഴും തുടർന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുക. we were watching what was happening in the last 15-16 months. And this novel was written even before, the war or, the current crisis started. But, I need to be thankful to Muna for sharing her sorrows, and which, made me write this. And that was an attempt to stand with, or to stand in solidarity with those people who are suffering, and those sorrows, are beyond our imagination. As I am saying in my novel, in all the languages, more than 6,000 languages in the world, we cannot express the real sorrow those people are suffering. And this is just just a part of those sorrows, which, I think this is our social responsibility. When we hear about something which is, നമ്മൾ പറയും, നമ്മൾ മലയാളികളായിട്ടുള്ള നമ്മളെ, people in Kerala have never witnessed a war. നമ്മൾക്ക് അങ്ങനത്തെ വലിയ ദുരന്തങ്ങളൊന്നും ഉണ്ടായിട്ടില്ലാന്ന്. But when we see the people, എന്നിട്ട് നമ്മൾ എന്താ ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് വെച്ചാല്, we are making comments about those people, and we are, it's very sad. Like, യുദ്ധത്തിലും അതുപോലെയുള്ള ദുരന്തങ്ങളിലും പെട്ടിരിക്കുന്ന മനുഷ്യരെ നമ്മൾ വീണ്ടും ക്രൂശിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന പോലെയാണ് പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മുടെ ആറ്റിറ്റ്യൂഡ് എന്ന് പറയാം. നമ്മളെപ്പോഴും മർദ്ദകരുടെ കൂടെ നിൽക്കുന്നു, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ അവരുടെ ഇരകളുടെ സത്യം എന്താണ് എന്ന് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ശ്രമിക്കുന്നില്ല. അപ്പം ഇരകളെ കുറിച്ച്, those who are suppressed, or those who are displaced, or those who are suffering wherever in the world, this is not only the story of Palestine. Wherever there is injustice, wherever there are people suffering, I think there is a Palestine. And this is this novel was formed finalized in 2022 August, and I know Ministry knows how we created this book. Do not ask the river her name in 23 February.
Sheela, would you like to speak about the title, because it enchanted Sabin instinctively, like it has done a lot of readers. Speak about the inspiration.
ആ നദിയോട് പേര് ചോദിക്കരുത്. That is the title in Malayalam. And do not ask the river her name. And this title was taken from the, from the poem of Mahmoud Darwish, a famous poem, Passport, which most of us will be knowing. And it speaks about identity. And, this is taken from one of the lines from the poem. I think Darwish and the Palestinian writers, നമ്മള് സാക്ഷികളാണ്, ഇവരുടെ ദുരന്തങ്ങൾ കണ്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. പക്ഷെ പലസ്തീനിയൻ റൈറ്റേഴ്സ് അവരവരുടെ രക്തം കൊണ്ടെഴുതിയ ഒരുപാട് രചനകൾ, സാഹിത്യ കവിതകളായിട്ടും ഫിക്ഷനായിട്ടും നോൺ ഫിക്ഷനായിട്ടും എല്ലാം നമ്മുടെ മുമ്പിലുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഇത് അവരോടുള്ള നമ്മുടെ ഒരു ബഹുമാനം സൂചിപ്പിക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി തന്നെയാണ് ഈ ടൈറ്റിൽ അങ്ങനെ കൊടുത്തതും. ആൻഡ് റിവർ, ആക്ച്വലി വി നോ ദാറ്റ് റിവർ ഫ്ലോസ് ത്രൂ മെനി ലാൻഡ്സ്. പല പല ദേശങ്ങളിൽ കൂടി റിവർ ഒഴുകുന്നു. ബട്ട് ദ റിവർ ഡസ് നോട്ട് ബിലോങ് ടു എ പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ലാൻഡ്. ദീസ് പീപ്പിൾ ആർ ലൈക്ക് ദാറ്റ്. They are, since 1948 and even before that, they are flowing through different lands. Not flowing, they are running or, അവരെ അങ്ങനെ ഓടിച്ചു വിട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. അപ്പം പക്ഷെ അവർക്കൊരു ദേശമില്ല, അവർക്കൊരു നാടില്ല. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള മനുഷ്യരുടെ ഒരു കഥയാണ്. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇതൊരു ഹ്യൂമാനിറ്റിയുടെ റിവർ എന്ന് സം പീപ്പിൾ ടോൾഡ് അബൌട്ട് ദിസ് റിവർ ആസ് ദിസ് ഇസ് എ റിവർ ഓഫ് ഹ്യൂമാനിറ്റി or river of love, and some other people told that this is a river of war, river of blood, and readers can take whatever they want to take it from this book. And
Beautiful.
I think Minnie can tell more about this book, because when I think Minnie ബാക്കി കഥ പറഞ്ഞു. ഈ പുസ്തകം മിനിയുടെ കയ്യിൽ.
Right. No, just, when I was listening to both of you, and at the end of the day, it is all a conversation about women. Sonia, what you said, and Sheela, what you said about leaving loved ones behind and going, I made me remember a story. So I had this young IAS probationer. He's a brilliant officer today. I'm very proud of having groomed him also, because as a collector, you get to, I hope you can listen to me. You can hear, right? Yeah, he was my probationer. So one day he told me a story. He said, ma'am, we had financial difficulty while we were growing up. And when I was 7 years old and my sister was 3 years old, our mother had to leave for Gulf because there was no other way. I think father had some health issues. And at that time, there was no phone or whatever. So imagine, she said you have to take care of your sister. And every single day, my mother used to write letters to us, every single day. So throughout the week, and she'll post it in Gulf and it will reach. And my sister and I, we used to sit. I mean, he was crying when he spoke that. And, and listening to it, I cried. I was thinking about his mother. And then, she raised wonderful children and they're doing so good. So sacrifice the pain, leaving your two little ones and all that pain, a mother writes, correct? And it came as a love and a guidance, Imagine I'm there hugging you guys, but I'm working because there's no other way to take care of the medical needs, to take care of both of you. So the story of this pain is something which I think women and men across the world can relate to, correct? The story of migration. And whether it is Sonia's Tipu searching for his mother, whether it is the women, the 3 women in the Baitul Banat, the house of girls who stand for dignity and self-dependence, whether it is Ruth, who is living behind loved ones. Ironically, her husband is also having a medical issue and struggling to educate her children. Whether the story of Munna, which inspired you, which tells you about the most vital word needed in the world today, empathy. It is not sympathy, it is empathy. Right? Stand in another's shoe. It's what the Lord, if you read Christianity, he spoke about, right? Understanding another's pain. So we are living in a world where selfishness, greed, luxury, me is being touted as the taglines, which I think for most of us who read, who notice people who suffer, we know that is wrong. Literature has always spoken about helping us. Writing in any language means we have one humanity, kindness, tolerance, understanding another's pain. That is what the best of humanity is all about. That is what every religion speaks about. Share, give, be kind. So I think writing that way is speaking truth to power, saying, your value system, sorry, we disagree. And every woman, every man who writes, when you write about rivers of humanity, when you write about Tipu discovering love and kindness in nature, in a tree, in a leaf, that is something a child sitting anywhere in the world can relate to, right? So more power to both of you for, standing up for what you believe in, because these are the values we desperately need today. That takes me back to a third question. You can ask me questions slightly later. I'm
Yeah, I
very
think we can
greedy to
ask
listen to both of you.
Ministry few questions.
Okay.
So see, there is a misconception that translation is a mechanical process.
Hmm.
But I think there is an element of creativity in it because you are creating a totally new product out of something before you. I myself, I'm also a translator.
Yes, I
I
know.
have done short story translations and autobiographical notes of Virginia Woolf and Elif Shafak's novels and
Yes.
Khalid Javed's Paradise of Food. So I usually translate books which ignite something in me, which
Hmm.
evokes a spark in me. These are
Yes.
my favorite books. So, what is your criteria in selecting a book? How you chose our authors, and
Yeah.
how do you come to translate a particular book?
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very intelligent question. So, true. You know, first you read a book as a reader. Unless the book speaks to you, unless it appeals to you, I cannot translate it. So the first and the most important criteria is something in that book should speak to me. And then a thought comes. Should this be restricted to one language? What if we take it to English? Because you and I know that once it comes in the mainstream language of English, and it's a reality today, from that language, it can go to innumerable languages across the world. Why? Even up within India, my colleagues in Bengal or Calcutta or, Orissa or let's say Jharkhand wants to read and they're not familiar with Malayalam, what's the only a way for them to understand the beauty of your stories? The moment it's in English, great. Now, I have a friend who is like extremely bilingual. She reads everything in Bangla and English and Hindi. Her grandmother loves reading, but she can read only Bangla. Now, herbarium comes in English. If she gets to translate it to Bangla, her grandmother will also smile reading about Tipu, right? I mean, what a joy it is. And like you speak, it is all about creating bridges. So certain books make me want to create that bridge. And for me, actually, Sonia and Sheila, translation as a part of my ikigai, it has to serve. Service is very important to me as a person. And when I translate, I feel I'm being part and I'm contributing to the bigger cause of literature. So that gives me the energy to, sort of translate. That's the best way to put it.
And wonderful it is. And Ananke is a festival of celebrating languages. So, as a person who can handles different languages in daily life, because you are a Malayali, you translate in English, you are living in Uttar Pradesh, you for your day-to-day interactions, you are using Hindi, and you write in Hindi as well. You can read Hindi also. So, when you think about translating a word, different words come to you. So the different synonyms, പര്യായ
Yeah.
പദങ്ങളൊക്കെ വരില്ലേ മലയാളത്തിൽ
Ah,
പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ അപ്പൊ so
absolutely.
when you see a word which which language sparks ignites in you, എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് ചൂസ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്?
That's very interesting because recently I was thinking for the word translation itself, we've got so many words in Malayalam. Paribhasha, Tarjama,
Tarjama.
മൊഴിമാറ്റം, ഭാഷാന്തരം. ഇപ്പൊ ഹിന്ദിയിൽ അതിനെ പറയുന്നത് എന്താന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അനുവാദം എന്നാണ്. അപ്പൊ ഞാനിപ്പോ അനുവാദം എന്നും കൂടെ പറയാണ്. I mean, there are so many words, right? And you're right, Sonia. And but then we have this. If you read it, German language, we know how it is closely interconnected to Sanskrit. We know that, right? So amazingly, when I started translating from Avadhi into English, I encountered the word paripadi.
Paribha.
Oh,
Paripadi,
yeah.
Vedana. I'm like, oh, come on, this is Malayalam. Okay.
Mhm.
So actually, Tulasi Das ji's shlokas, chaupais had words like paripadi, Vedana. Okay. So the roots are the same because our mother tongue is also rooted in Sanskrit and Tamil.
Mhm.
So it's just like amazing. Once I started reading and I went through the
Yeah,
interpretation,
see how the history of languages evolved through translators. That's wonderful.
Mhm.
it's absolutely amazing. So once the joy came, and then people started asking me, "Ma'am, you're from Kerala." Even I'm born and brought up in North India. I don't understand Tulsidas Sri Ramcharitamanas. I mean, Panditji was sit and narrate. I just narrate along. I don't understand the nuances or meanings, and the stories are the same because we also grew up reading Ramayana in Malayalam, right? We had
Yeah.
to study it also.
Mm.
The beauty of studying languages is we study classics. I mean, we read stories from the Bible also, from the Quran also, we read Ramayana also. As a part of a very erudite, I would say, our scholastic panel selects the best as a part of our school syllabus. So I told them, I know all these stories. But then they asked, but how do you know? I said, probably because I was born in Kerala. I should say thank you to the education system of Kerala. So
Mm.
languages, you have to have a flair for it. But once you read, this amazing world opens up. So I've ended up translating 4 cantos of Tulsidas Ji's Ramayana. It is in 7. It starts with, the birth of the Lord, which is Balkand. Then Ayodhya Kand, we know that, the fight and then going banishment into the forest. Then Aranyakand, then Kishkinda Kand. Then Sundarkand, when Hanuman goes in search of Sita. Then after that, Lanka Kand, Yuddha Kand, as we know it. And the last is Uttarakhand. So I have done 4. Part 1 is I have divided into 2. It is so big, so I made it into part 1, part 2. Part 1 is with the publisher. So it has been. Let's say it was a world of revelation for me also. I never knew because, like I said, my children keep teasing me, "Mama, your Hindi is horrible. Please, your car and K and K." Apparently, motorbike is Striling and scooter is pulling. I have no way of understanding this sort of stuff. Okay, I mean, you can't expect me to motorbike be, stealing and a scooter be pulling. It goes against my common sense. But then apparently that was a thing. But I ended up translating Avathi. So it has been a gift of languages. And just one quotation which I'd like to share here, Sonia, Sheela, in the Bible, because I ended up translating a lot of books based on the Bible. And I should, including Do Not Ask the River Her Name, so many biblical and V.J. James's books. And so in the Corinthians, I discovered a quotation which speaks about translators. It's a gift. It says it's a spiritual gift of interpreting the oracle's tongue and interpreting it for the common man.
Mm.
So when I read that sentence, I said, "Oh wow!" Now, some people given this gift of interpreting what the oracle says in his language and to transmit the essence to the common man. So I said, "Okay." And when a gift comes, it comes with its responsibilities. That's the best way of putting it.
And Ministry, ഞാനൊരു ചോദ്യം ചോദിക്കട്ടെ. How did you get such a depth in, Bible? I found that, in my Do Not Ask the River Her Name,
Yes.
even you were selecting the words and selecting the, biblical quotes with such a, knowledge. Like, I think you have a എന്നെക്കാളും അറിവുണ്ട് ബൈബിളിന്റെ ചില ഭാഗങ്ങളൊക്കെ. എങ്ങനെയാണ് അത് അങ്ങനെ ബൈബിളിനോട്
Actually, I grew up in a home where we had 2 puja rooms, 2 worshipping places. So a typical Hindu puja room, and my uncle used to read the Bible, my grandmother. So we grew up reading both the books. We went to the temple as well as the church. So that eclectic background familiarized me with the Bible from an early age. And then because of a lot of translations, I ended up reading the Malayalam Bible and English Bible a lot. And nowadays, I'm all the time listening to Father Bobby Jos Capuchin. So I think I've got notebooks full of
Wonderful.
biblical quotes. And the best part to share with both of you, one book is going to be published very soon. Benjamin's book, the second book of prophets, which is a retelling of Jesus Christ's life, is going to be published by Simon and Schuster. That's the whole of the Bible. Had I not read the Bible, I would not have been able to translate it.
Yeah, that's
So
a very beautiful.
now you guys are
beautiful.
very tricky. You're going to make me talk about myself. No, so I'm going to push the
No,
questions
no.
right back to you. Okay?
Actually, we want to, the audience should listen to you. Like whatever you said now. ഇപ്പൊ നമുക്കറിയാം നമ്മളൊരു ഡിവിസീവ് വേൾഡിലാണ് നമ്മളുള്ളത് അല്ലേ? For religion, for caste, and for even for the, വംശം, കുലം, അങ്ങനെ പല കാര്യങ്ങളും നമ്മളെ പല 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 100 കഷണങ്ങളായിട്ട് വിഭജിച്ചുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്. As we said in Do Not Ask the River, Jerusalem is the center of all three Semitic religions.
Yes.
And India as a whole, we know എത്രയോ religions, എത്രയോ മതങ്ങൾ അല്ലേ? Even in Kerala, we are living in harmony, so many, so many religions, so many caste and everything. And people like you who recite from Bible, who recite from Gita, at the, ഒരുപോലെ എല്ലാം ആയിട്ട് ഉള്ള കൈകാര്യം ചെയ്യുന്ന ആൾക്കാർ ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ സൊസൈറ്റിക്ക് ആവശ്യമുണ്ട്. So we want you to talk more.
Thank you, dear. I'll make you guys talk and then I'll talk. So I have one question, which I'm very, very, keen to listen to both of you. Women have always played a very vital role in culture. There is no culture without a woman. I mean, probably when you use the words, you will find it is almost feminine words that we use to refer to culture also. Sanskriti, samskar, whatever. And in literature, she has played a very vital role too. And women writers in Malayalam have literally handled a lot of, troubles in their times. We've read about women writers committing suicide also in the past, but still they have, in spite of whatever it is, bold themes, the voice of compassion and strength. In spite of everything which tried to suppress her, she's always been at the forefront. I want to listen to both of you about women writers who inspired you, about the role of women in literature, and how you think today you are playing your role in taking it forward. Okay? So, Sheela, would you like to address
Yeah.
that, and then we'll take it to Sonia?
Yeah. Actually, who are the first storytellers? Our mothers, right?
Mothers, yes.
അതെ, അമ്മമാരാണ് നമുക്ക് ആദ്യത്തെ കഥകൾ പറഞ്ഞു തന്നിട്ടുള്ളത്. അതുപോലെ ഐ തിങ്ക് വിമൻ ആർ ദ കീപ്പേഴ്സ് ഓഫ് ഓൾ ദ സ്റ്റോറീസ് ഇൻ ദ വേൾഡ് ആൻഡ് ഓൾ ദ സ്റ്റോറീസ് emerge from women in the first instance. Women always, I think, always had a role in shaping our society and shaping our history and everything. And so is the case with Malayalam literature. If we go back to the Malayalam literature early days, we have so many poets, so many storytellers, very famous storytellers in Malayalam, and poets like Balamani Amma, Kadathanattu Madhavi Amma, and Lalitambika Andarjanam, who wrote very bravely, from that particular community, and Saraswati Amma. And
Yes.
even before that, I think it's in 1920s or 1913.
Okay.
It's short story by Saraswati Bai, M. Saraswati
Okay.
Bai. Yeah.
Okay.
തലച്ചോറില്ലാത്ത സ്ത്രീകൾ. That was the short story, which, tells about ഒരു എഴുത്തുകാരി. ശരിക്കും ആ എഴുത്തുകാരി അവര് ഒരു എഴുത്തുകാരന്റെ ഭാര്യയായിരുന്നു. തലച്ചോറില്ലാത്ത സ്ത്രീകൾ മീൻസ് ദ വിമൻ who have no brain, brainless women. That is the title.
Brainless women. Women with no intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah. No intelligence. Yeah.
She was the wife of a writer.
Wife of a writer. And the writer was very famous, and he used to write stories in periodicals and all. And this lady has to take care of her lot of children, in the all time. She must have some 4, 5 or 6 children. She has to take care of the children. She has to take care of home and everything. And, one day, വേറൊരു എഴുത്തുകാരൻ ഈ മറ്റേ എഴുത്തുകാരനെ പരാജയപ്പെടുത്താൻ തുടങ്ങി. That he was defeating with her
his writing
stories and all. And in the end, he will understand that it was that lady, his wife. She was writing in another name.
To compete with him. Oh, okay.
And
so his own wife, whom he spoke was brainless, was the one who emerged as a writer.
And
this lady wrote in 1913.
1913. That means even 100 years before. And even now, we are, we like writers like me and Sonia are talking about we are not well represented in literature, That is the case in Malayalam literature, what is happening now. But you can find many beautiful writing from women writers. Like
sadly, Sheela, even now we face the question, how does your family support you? What is why nobody asks this question to a man? Why? Because people always have the conception that somebody should support her. Then only she can prosper. What is your, who is behind, who is your backbone? Why is it so? Even big, very big actresses who have won international awards, people go and ask them, how is the support from the family? What's the point? Hey, you can continue, Sheela.
No, very, very perceptive intervention, I would say. Very, very
Yeah,
vital.
And still we face these questions, and I don't know when our literary world or our society will think differently. And as you said, our famous writer Rajalakshmi, she couldn't continue her career. She has to sacrifice her life because of her writing. And after that, we have Madhavi Kuti, and we have she came out with brave writings about women, about women's desires, and about women's body, and
Yes.
later writers like Sarah Joseph came with her Sarah Joseph is needs special mention because she writes and she lives whatever she writes. അവരെന്താണോ എഴുതുന്നത് അത് തന്നെയാണ് അവർ ജീവിക്കുന്നത്. She's a very
it is very rare to find such people among
you
men
wrote an article about that,
yes.
Sonia, about commemorating her award recently.
Shalabab. Because why the title? Because
no, just translate it in the English also, please.
Yeah, Tiyam Shalabam means a moth or a butterfly who turned herself to fire.
Yeah.
So, but she's very courageous. As she's not afraid of fire. She's not afraid of any authorities. And actually, I think me, Sonia, and the latest women writers in Kerala are getting strength from her life and her writings, I think. And
80-year-old woman, you won't find a single man among writers who are as strong as Sarah teacher in her age.
Perfect.
When you say strength, what do you mean? Is it in her writing, or is it in a way of life, or is it both? Or
it's a way of life and putting forward her ideas, putting forward her, സാറ ടീച്ചർ ഒന്നും നോക്കുന്നില്ല. ആരാണ് ഭരിക്കുന്നത്, ആരാണ് എതിർ കക്ഷി എന്നുള്ളത് നോക്കുന്നില്ല. ഷീ ജസ്റ്റ് സേസ് ഷീ തുല്യനീതിക്ക് വേണ്ടിയാണ് നിൽക്കുന്നത്. She is in a fighting mode even in her 80th.
Even though she's a feminist, what we can say is that she's standing for all marginalized people,
humanity,
Adivasis, transgenders, and she's writing for the society as a whole, not only for women, but she is, in her writing, we find that solace, what do you call, that we were looking for a long time, to find someone to speak for us. That's
I just to add to, because we are toasting a great woman, I just small anecdote which I remember reading about her. I read when she wrote about, women desperate to read, so she was married off at a very young age, and in that remote place where she lived, she said, I used to wait for grocery stores, when people come back with things purchased, bananas wrapped in that paper. I used to wait for that piece of paper in which the bananas are wrapped so that I could read it. It shows that absolute desperation. And just to link it, Iris Murdoch, I think in a Nobel Prize speech, spoke something very, very similar, about a girl, just from memory, and she is standing there, buying something, and Leo Tolstoy's Anna Karenina is there, and she is reading, and she says those few moments when she is reading, this girl transforms her reality into a sublime world, something like this. So these are great women. Wonderful. Please carry on.
I think now we have a lot of women writers like, K.R. Meera and all the women writers who came after K.R. Meera, and people like Sonia and me who traveled out of Kerala, and now we have started writing about, like, people out of our country and
very new themes which have never been explored before. Yes.
Yeah,
I think both of you faced that question also, didn't you? I mean, I heard about people asking you, Sheela, but then you've never been to Palestine and you're a Keralite, so why do you even write? I mean, you face that sort of very narrow-minded sectarian question. And Sonia also, I think, why do you write about Arab women, right? I really want you guys to share a little bit about facing these petty, narrow-minded questions. Please share.
Yeah, people are saying, some writers even say, like, or Nirupaganmare say, they are praising, critics. Yeah, they are praising, they are reading a lot of world classics or Loga Sahityam. And they can understand, they can relate to Marcus, they can relate to the Russian writers or Turkish writers or whoever. But whenever we write something, which is outside, the subject is
which you're not supposed to write about, which is beyond you. How dare you?
It's strange that they cannot relate to whatever we write about the people in the sisters in Dubai or the people in Palestine, the people in Turkey. I don't know how it happens, but I think people,
it frightens them. That's the thing. Women talking about international politics, women talking about unknown lands boldly, it frightens them. That's it.
Yeah, we are going back to, that we are going back one century back to 1913. We are still that.
They'll call you brainless because you don't even know. Why you speak about stuff, about which you're not supposed to know, right? It's basically a replica of that very patriarchal, authoritarian world on which I was trying to speak, in which everything has to be my value system. I will not listen to any other voice, isn't it? So every woman who stands by her voice has her strength. So both of you are torchbearers. I really want you to tell about your latest project, both Sheela and Sonia. Sonia, I want you to speak about Umwelt, that short story, which has given a whole new flavor for the Malayalam literature. And Sheela, I want you to speak about your latest project also. Sonia, would you like to speak about Umwelt?
Umwelt is a short story which I have written and it got published last month in Samakalika Malayalam Varika. And it attracted a lot of readers. ഒരുപാട് ചർച്ചയുണ്ടായ ഒരുപാട് സംസാരം ഉണ്ടായ ഒരു കഥ കൂടിയാണ്. This is about a small boy who is going on to his 11th grade. He is from a broken family. Father and mother separated, and he comes for vacation. Boarding school in the vacation variyana to his home, where there is a servant, a male servant, and his father, who is an environmental scientist. So this boy wants to become a scientist in the future, like his father, but mother is a writer. I mean, not a writer. You can't say strictly a writer. She's a reader. She likes fiction. So this boy is having achande manasumunda, ammeda manasumunda. He don't know where to go, which path to take. That is the crucial point. Is teenage. While I was talking to Maithil, once Maithil told my son, when he was in 10th grade, he said, Mone, nee 1000 കുതിരകൾ കെട്ടിയ ഒരു തേരിലാണ് സഞ്ചരിച്ചു കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. You are on a chariot with 1000 horses. Each horse wants to go different ways. It's you who select which horse you want. And as you age, these horses keeps on dying and there will be 1 or 2 remaining. This is what he told. And I was thinking about that. Ee boy de age ennu parna, it's a very confused period in his life and he is having a broken family. So he looks at the nature, he with curiosity, and this Umwelt word is a German word actually, which means environment in the lighter sense, but it has a more deep meaning, which means oru jeeviyude samvedanatmakamaya antariksham, something which you can perceive, something which you can know. ഓരോ ജീവിക്കും ഡിഫറെന്റ് ഉംവെൽറ്റ്സ് ഉണ്ടാകുക. യുവർ ഉംവെൽറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് മൈ ഉംവെൽറ്റ്. മൈ ഉംവെൽറ്റ് ഈസ് നോട്ട് സിമിലർ ടു bird's umwelt or a snake's umwelt or an ant's umwelt. So people live in small umwelts. So this boy is trying to understand his father's umwelt and his mother's umwelt and trying to find out his own umwelt, and he remains confused. So that is the basic philosophy behind the story. And I'm so happy that people read it because it has so many scientific terms in it, so many anecdotes, so many scientific facts in it. Usually people do not like to read fiction which has facts mixed in it. So they say it is like a documentary, docu-fiction, or it's like a lekhanam. It's like a scientific article, but nobody spoke like that about this story. So I could easily weave in the scientific facts along with the child's story and express his emotions. So I feel very happy that people started reading stories like this, and it's a great inspiration also because I have that kind of എൻ്റെ ഒരു മേക്കിംഗ് അങ്ങനെയാണ്. എനിക്ക് എപ്പോഴും നേച്ചറും സയൻസും ഒക്കെ ഫിക്ഷനിൽ കടന്നു വരും. സോ ദിസ് ഗിവ്സ് മീ എ ഫ്രീഡം ആക്ച്വലി. എനിക്കിതൊക്കെ എഴുതാമല്ലോ ഇനി, മനുഷ്യർക്ക് ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടുന്നുണ്ടല്ലോ. സോ ആക്ച്വലി ഇറ്റ് മേഡ് മീ ഹാപ്പി.
അതെ, മിനി, ശരിക്കും സോണിയയുടെ സ്റ്റോറി വന്നപ്പം I was really very happy because ladies, women are writing like that and it's accepted finally. We are writing differently. We have many ways to write. We have many ways to express our emotions or ideas. But when we speak something differently, it will be, if it's heard, it's really good. Like that.
I had a couple of observations. I mean, you completed, then I'll speak. Yes, yes.
Go on.
Okay. Because Netflix, the adolescent series, no? I mean, it has taken the world by storm, and Britain has ensured that it should be watched. I just loved it. I told my daughters to watch it also. Your story, Umwelt, resonated very strongly when I watched that series, Adolescence. The confusion children go through, identifying, the 13-year-old checking about his manhood, his desires, his understanding what is the right path, and parents having absolutely no clue what is going on. His umwelt or his sensitivity, what all shapes it, the manosphere and rotate, which is the world, which, Sri Narayana Guru, a great social reformer, once wrote an article called Who Resides Inside of You? നിങ്ങളുടെ ഉള്ളിൽ താമസിക്കുന്നതാര്? And he connected the different parallel worlds of energy around us and how we become very vulnerable to violence and all that when we are weak, and how it is extremely important for a disciplined life. Otherwise, some other energy will live inside you and make you do. People say, no, I just did it in the heat of the moment. I murdered. I don't know how I could have murdered. So Sri Narayana Guru's question, who lives inside you? Who lives inside your womb? Is it a viper baby? Or is it a snake? Or what is it, So that story was amazing. One, congrats for breaking new frontiers and daring to write the way you want to write. You are an agricultural scientist. You brought in your extra knowledge and sensitivity in a way in which I, who have no knowledge of agriculture, I could immediately relate to it. If you remember the great novel, which I think you've written about it, Sophie's World, you've written, right? About that. Introducing philosophy in the most beautiful world. We're not speaking about Sophie's Choice. We're speaking about Sophie's World. Beautiful book about introducing philosophy. Some writer introduces philosophy. That is a male writer, okay? Imagine had it been written by a woman, I don't know about its acceptability. So Sonia, more power to you and more power to Sheela. Write about Palestine, write about Ukraine, write about environment, write about everything you want to fearlessly. But one request I've got, your writing should not be dependent on whether the reader accepts it or not. A lot of great books found readers for so many decades and centuries later, right? So that fear of validation should not deter you from writing, because you have now suddenly opened a whole new way. I want neurosurgeons to write. I want people who are selfish to write. I want humanity of every stream to write and tell us their stories. We have this concept that only certain people who live in a certain way are allowed to write. No. So
I feel that people who have language with them, എഴുതാൻ ഫിക്ഷനും ലാംഗ്വേജും കയ്യിലുള്ളവർക്ക്, I think they can handle any subject. The books, medical books by Siddhartha Mukherjee,
Yes,
Dr. Siddhartha
yes,
Mukherjee.
yes, yes. The
Genes.
emperor of
Yeah,
melodies.
so
Yeah.
it actually speaks about genetics, biochemistry, biotechnology and all. But അത് ഒരു ജനപ്രിയ പുസ്തകമാണ് because he has used literary language in it.
Yes.
Similarly, history. ഒരു ബോറിംഗ് സബ്ജക്റ്റ് ആണ് പലർക്കും. പക്ഷേ ഹാവ് യു റെഡ് ദിസ് പീറ്റർ ഫ്രാങ്കോപാൻസ് സിൽക്ക് റോഡ്സ്? It speaks about Silk Road history, but it is he knows the language and he has handled it, mixed it with fiction, and it is very interesting. അതും ഒരു ജനപ്രിയ പുസ്തകമാണ്. So people who have language can bring alive any subject. That's what I think.
Yeah, and more women.
Yeah.
ശരിക്കും അതെ, അതുപോലെ നമ്മുടെ മലയാളത്തിൽ ഇപ്പം we have so many, fiction and non-fiction coming from women from different fields. Like Sonia Cherian, she is Lieutenant Colonel. She was a Lieutenant Colonel in Army, and now she has written about her, about her life over there.
Memoirs. Yeah.
And
actually, I'm translating the book.
Really?
Yeah.
And she has beautiful language, and with that, that
I might be having a copy of that. Yes, Indian Rainbow.
Indian Rainbow. Yeah.
Story, ഒരു
Yeah.
പട്ടാളക്കാരിയുടെ ഓർമ്മക്കുറിപ്പുകൾ, the memoirs of a woman soldier. Yeah, I'm translating.
Yeah,
All the best for the work.
Yeah, all the best to Sonia and Minnie. And it's like, we can read it as a story, not.
Yes.
It's not, that's what.
There's a very heart-touching episode in which she writes about encountering a child bride, and she relating to her grandmother. Now, her grandmother at 13 was a child bride, and she thanks the system and the society of Kerala, which allowed her to be a doctor and a major. And in Rajasthan, still, that the sadness of it's very heart touching. You're very right. We need more women with language to come and write. Yeah. I have one question to both of you, because we also have to manage time. I want you guys to read out paragraphs from the beautiful books you have written. And for the sake of our audience, I want you to read out the English translations also, if you have. I mean, I'm enjoying the conversation too much, but Sabine has given me the timekeeper job also. So, yes. So, Sonia, would you like to start here?
Yeah, I will read out from my first novel, Herbarium.
Yes, Herbarium.
The first.
And by the way, I want to tell the audience that Herbarium is a part of the literature syllabus of Kerala University.
Yeah. So I will read out a paragraph, which is actually the Tipu's mother Fatima's note, the first note which he gets after she goes missing. The title is Kaivellaile Udyanam. എന്റെ കൈവെള്ളയിൽ ഒതുങ്ങുന്നൊരു ഇമ്മിണിത്തോട്ടം. ഒരു സുന്ദരി വഴുതന, അവൾക്കരികിൽ ശീർഷാസന പ്രിയരായ വെണ്ടയ്ക്കാകളുമായി 2 വെണ്ടച്ചെടികൾ. ഇരുവരെയും ഉറ്റുനോക്കി കാർന്നൂർ ഭാവത്തിൽ ഒരു കറിവേപ്പ്. ചുവന്ന മുടിയഴിച്ചിട്ട ഭ്രാന്തി തള്ളയെ പോലൊരു ചീര. അവളുടെ മുടിക്കെട്ടിൽ നിന്നും കൊഴിഞ്ഞു വീണ കുഞ്ഞുമക്കളാണ് ചട്ടി നിറച്ചും കുരുത്തു നിൽക്കുന്ന ചീരത്തൈകൾ. തുളസിയും ഞവരയും പുതിനയും കച്ചോലവും രണ്ടാംകിട പൗരന്മാരായി അവർക്കു പിന്നിൽ പമ്മി നിൽപ്പാണ്. തക്കാളിച്ചെടിയാണേൽ മഞ്ഞ നിറത്തിലെ നക്ഷത്രപ്പൂക്കൾ കാട്ടി കുതിപ്പിക്കാൻ തുടങ്ങിയിട്ട് കുറേയായി. ഇതിപ്പോ 4ാം പൂവാണ് അവൾ വെറുതെ പൊഴിച്ചിട്ട് കളഞ്ഞിരിക്കുന്നത്. തുളസിച്ചെടി ഒരു വിരൽ കൂടി പൊങ്ങിയാൽ 5-6 ഇലകൾ എണ്ണ കാച്ചാനെടുക്കാം. മുളകു വിത്തുകൾ മുളയ്ക്കാൻ അല്പം വൈകി. പകരം പയർ മുളപ്പിക്കാമെന്ന് കരുതിയതാണ്. പുലർച്ചെ പയർമണികളുമായി വന്ന് നോക്കിയപ്പോൾ ഒളിച്ചിരിപ്പുകൾക്ക് ഒടുക്കം പ്രഖ്യാപിച്ചുകൊണ്ട് മുളക് തൈകൾ വെളുക്കെ ചിരിച്ചു നിൽക്കുന്നു. പയറിന്റെ ആശയും മുളകിന്റെ നിരാശയും അതോടെ അവസാനിച്ചു. പൂച്ചെടികളായ പൂച്ചെടികളെല്ലാം ഒരുമിച്ച് കൊണ്ടുവന്ന് ഈ കൈവെള്ളയ്ക്കുള്ളിലെ തോട്ടത്തിൽ പൂവിടിക്കണമെന്ന് മോഹമുണ്ട്. എന്നാൽ ആ മോഹം ഏതാനും ഡാലിയകളിലും പെറ്റൂണിയകളിലും ഒതുക്കേണ്ടി വന്നു. ഒരു കുറ്റിമുല്ലയുണ്ട്, ലേശം മടിച്ചയാണ്. മൊട്ടിടാറായെങ്കിലും അനാവശ്യമായൊരു അമാന്തമുണ്ട് അവൾക്ക്. ആദ്യം മൊട്ട് വിടരുമ്പോൾ ഈ മുല്ലത്തൈയുടെ ചിത്രം വരയ്ക്കുവാൻ ടിപ്പുവിനോട് പറയണം. അവൻ ആദ്യമായി വരയ്ക്കുന്ന ജൈവ പ്രതിനിധി ഈ കുരുക്കുത്തിമുല്ലയാവട്ടെ. അവന്റെ ചിത്രങ്ങളിൽ ജീവന്റെ മണവും നിറവും പടരണം ഇനിയെങ്കിലും.
Beautiful.
And I will read out the beautiful translation from Ministry. It reads like this. The garden in my palm. One teeny weeny garden ensconced in the palm of my hand. A pretty brinjal, and next to her, 2 ladies' fingers with their offspring. who love standing on their heads. Gazing at both, an imperious-looking curry leaf plant, a red spinach resembling a mad old woman with scraggly hair. The little children spilling over from her mane are the spinach seedlings, which have sprouted profusely in the flower pot. The basil, Indian borage, mint, and aromatic ginger huddling behind the others, marginalized like second-class citizens. The tomato plant with its yellow star flowers has been beguiling me for a long time. Here, this is the fourth flower she has slowly shed. If the tulsi grows a finger's length more, a few leaves can be plucked for sauteing in oil. When the chili seeds prolonged their germination, I thought of growing cowpeas instead. But when I arrived at dawn, I saw amenably grinning chili saplings declaring the ending of their hibernation. My yearning for the cowpeas and frustration with the chilies both ended therein. I have a fervent desire to bring in every possible flowering plant and let them all blossom in this palm-sized garden of mine. But that longing has been curbed with a few dahlias and petunias. I have a jasmine plant, slightly lethargic. She is nearing budding season, but has a haughty reluctance. When her first bud opens up, I should ask Tipu to sketch the sapling. Let this white jasmine be the first representative of the green world that he sketches. The fragrance of life and its colors should spread across his drawings. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. I like the original better.
Now, I'm going to read from ആ നദിയോട് പേര് ചോദിക്കരുത്.
Sure.
ആപ്പിൾ മണമുള്ള വീട്. മേൽക്കൂരയിലും മട്ടുപ്പാവിലും നിറയെ ആപ്പിൾ ഇലകൾ വീണു കിടക്കുന്ന ആ വീടിന് ആപ്പിൾ ഗന്ധമായിരുന്നു. അവിടുത്തെ രാവുകൾക്കും പകലുകൾക്കും അതേ ഗന്ധമായിരുന്നു. ആ വീട്ടിലെ ആദ്യ നാളുകൾക്ക് പക്ഷേ പൊള്ളുന്ന പനിയുടെ വിയർപ്പിന്റെ മടുപ്പിക്കുന്ന മണമായിരുന്നു. മരണത്തിന്റെ മണമെന്ന് എനിക്ക് തോന്നിയ ഒന്ന്. മുകളിലത്തെ നിലയിലെ നിരത്തിലേക്ക് തുറക്കുന്ന ഇരട്ടപ്പാളി ജനാലയുള്ള മുറിയിലായിരുന്നു എന്റെ വാസം. 3 മാസത്തേക്ക് ആ ചുമരുകൾക്കകത്തായിരുന്നു എന്റെ ലോകം. ഒരൽപ്പം മാത്രം നീക്കിയ തിരശീലയിലൂടെ ഉള്ളിലേക്ക് കടന്നു വന്ന വെയിലിനെ, നിലാവിനെ, കിളിയൊച്ചകളെ, ആപ്പിൾ വാസനയെ ഞാൻ സ്നേഹിച്ചു. ഇനി ഒരിക്കലും അതൊന്നും അനുഭവിക്കാൻ ഇടവരാതെ പോകുമോ എന്ന് ഞാൻ ഭയന്നു. 104 ഡിഗ്രി പനിച്ചുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഞാനിവിടെ കയറി വന്നത്. റെബേക്ക എന്ന നല്ല മനുഷ്യ സ്ത്രീയോട്, ഡോക്ടർ യഹോഷുവ എന്ന മനുഷ്യനോട് കടപ്പെട്ടിരിക്കുന്നു ഈ പുനർജന്മം. സിയോൻ കുന്നിന്റെ ചെരുവിൽ കാർ പാർക്ക് ചെയ്ത് ഇരുളിന്റെ മറവിൽ കറുത്ത കോട്ടിൽ സ്വയം ഒളിപ്പിച്ച് ഊടുവഴികളിലൂടെ വളഞ്ഞു തിരിഞ്ഞ് ഡോക്ടർ യഹോഷുവ ഈ വീടിന്റെ പിന്നാമ്പുറത്ത് വന്നു കയറും, ഒരു കള്ളനെ പോലെ. കാൽപ്പെരുമാറ്റം കേട്ട് വാതിലിലെ മുട്ട് കേട്ട് 3 വട്ടം ആവർത്തിക്കുന്ന 2 ടക് ടക്. റെബേക്ക ഈമ വാതിൽ തുറക്കും. പടികൾ ശീഘ്രം ഓടിക്കയറി ഡോക്ടർ അരികിൽ വന്നിരിക്കും. സ്റ്റെതസ്കോപ്പ് ഹൃദയതാളം രേഖപ്പെടുത്തും. എല്ലാം പാതി ബോധത്തിൽ കിടക്കുമ്പോഴും ഞാൻ അറിഞ്ഞിരുന്നു. മരണത്തിനും ജീവനുമിടയിലുള്ള ആ ഞാണിന്മേൽ കളിയിൽ നിന്ന് റെബേക്ക ഈമയുടെ വിരൽത്തുമ്പ് പിടിച്ച് ഞാൻ ഇക്കരെ കടന്നത് ഒരത്ഭുതം തന്നെ. പനി മാറി കണ്ണു വലിച്ചു തുറന്ന ആ ദിവസത്തിനും ആപ്പിൾ വാസനയായിരുന്നു. അപകടനില തരണം ചെയ്തിട്ടും റെബേക്ക ഈമ എനിക്ക് കാവലിരുന്നു. ഓരോ പോലീസ് സൈറണിലും അവർ നടുങ്ങി വിറയ്ക്കുന്നത് ഞാൻ കണ്ടു. അവർ എന്നെ കണ്ടെത്തുമോ എന്ന് ഈമ വല്ലാതെ ഭയന്നിരുന്നു. ഒരുപക്ഷെ എന്നേക്കാൾ ഭയന്നിരുന്നു. അവരുടെ കണ്ണുകൾക്ക് താഴെ ഉറക്കമില്ലായ്മയുടെ കറുത്ത വട്ടങ്ങൾ കനത്തു വന്നു. അവരുടെ കവിളുകളിൽ, നെറ്റിയിൽ ചുളിവുകളുടെ എണ്ണം കൂടി വന്നു. അവരുടെ കരതലങ്ങൾ വെയിലേറ്റ തളിരിന കണക്കെ വാടിയും വരണ്ടും വന്നു. സ്വന്തം ജീവൻ എനിക്ക് പകർന്ന് അവർ വരണ്ടുണങ്ങുകയാണോ എന്ന് ഞാൻ ഭയന്നു. അവരുടെ കണ്ണുകളിൽ ഞാൻ എന്റെ മാമയുടെ സ്നേഹം കണ്ടു. കുട്ടിക്കാലത്തെ കരിഞ്ഞ മാംസത്തിന്റെ മണമുള്ള പകലിൽ എന്നിൽ നിന്നും കവർച്ച ചെയ്യപ്പെട്ട സ്നേഹം. ഇലകൾക്കിടയിലെ കൂട്ടിൽ കഴുകന്റെ ദൃഷ്ടിയിൽപ്പെടാതെ കുഞ്ഞുകിളിയെ ഒളിപ്പിച്ച പക്ഷിയായിരുന്നു റെബേക്ക ഈമ. അവരെ നോക്കിയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ പോയിപ്പോയതെല്ലാം തിരിച്ചു കിട്ടുന്ന പോലെ. അവരെ നോക്കിയിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ ജീവിതത്തെ ഞാൻ വല്ലാതെ ഇഷ്ടപ്പെടാൻ തുടങ്ങി. അതങ്ങനെയാണ്. നഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടെന്ന് കരുതിയത് തിരികെ കിട്ടിയാൽ നമുക്കതിനോട് ഒരുപാട് ഇഷ്ടം തോന്നും. എന്നത്തെക്കാളും അത് മനോഹരമായും തോന്നും. ഇനി ഒരിക്കലും അത് നഷ്ടമാകല്ലേ എന്ന് ആശിക്കും. അത് തിരികെ തന്നവരോട് ലോകത്തിലേക്കും അധികം സ്നേഹം തോന്നും. റെബേക്ക ഈമ ഇന്നെന്റെ എല്ലാമാണ്. വർഷങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം ഞാൻ പണ്ടത്തെ താരാട്ട് കേൾക്കുന്നു. കരിഞ്ഞ മാംസത്തിന്റെ തീക്ഷ്ണ ഗന്ധമുള്ള താരാട്ട്. ജീവിക്കണം, എനിക്ക് തോൽക്കാതെ ജീവിക്കണം. Minnie, do you want to read English, Minnie?
I'll read one paragraph. What is the page number?
Page number 170. I want to hear from you.
170. Right. Okay. It's pretty long, so I'll read one paragraph, okay? Because your Malayalam was so melodious. The apple-scented house. The house, whose terrace and roof were flooded with apple leaves, had the scent of apples. The days and nights had the same fragrance. But the first few days in the house had the sickening stench of high fever and perspiration. I felt it was the smell of death. I was staying in a room with a double window which opened to the view of the street outside. My world was limited to the four walls for almost 3 months. Whatever poured in through the slightly parted curtains, the sunlight, moonbeams, bird chirpings, and the sweet scent of apples, I cherished them all in my heart. I was afraid that I would never be able to relish these again. Just maybe I'll read a few more sentences about Dr. Yeshua. I was burning with a 104-degree temperature when I entered that home. I'm alive today only because of the kindness of two good human beings, Rebecca Ema and Dr. Yehoshua. After surreptitiously parking his car by the slope of Mount Zion in the shadow of darkness, hiding himself in a black coat and maneuvering his way through narrow, winding paths, Dr. Yehoshua would reach the backyard of the house almost like a thief. At the sound of the shuffling shoes, alerted by the coded knocks, which was 2 knocks repeated thrice in a row, Rebecca Ema would tentatively open the door. The doctor would leap down the stairs and reach my side. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So before we request Sabin to come in and wind up the conversation, I was just thinking about today's world in which we are living. Just thought which came in.
Minnie,
Yes. Yes.
before we continue, I want to hear from you as a very responsible IAS officer. Tell us, how do you manage your time to devote so much quality time for books, for
I was trying to manage it so
activities and
harshly,
everything?
Dada, pushing you towards a deadline.
But it will be, it will be a guideline or a very good
Yeah.
message for all of us.
To be very frank, Sheila, I mean, I have a mother who's a master or a mistress of time management. I've never seen her wasting 1 minute. Okay. And so she always used to tell me, I mean, the same thing which we learn in lessons, like of all resources, the most important thing is, this precious moment. How are you spending it? So we all have 24 hours. We all have our responsibilities. But where we focus is what matters. Correct. We
Yeah.
fritter away a lot of time without knowing it in a lot of things. It's like
Yes.
the water spreading and flowing so thin that there is no depth to it.
Yeah.
So to have clear-cut goals, very clear. It's very important. Like if I have Sonia's books or your books, then I tell myself, okay, today I will do 3 pages. Whatever be the struggle, whatever I handle, before sleep, I have to finish these 3 pages. Maybe I don't
We are
have the
very,
energy.
fortunate. Keto Shilaji, we
Mm,
are very fortunate for having
Yeah.
her. You see
Yeah.
how sincere she is.
Really. Mm. Really, thank
So that whatever is a struggle, it's like what Shivani ji said. It is that 15 minutes which gives me the energy. And once you start translating, then you're in a different world. And the gift is it gives you so much energy back. So I can, on some days, for example, Sonia, if you remember, first edits come and I cannot sleep until I finish and send the click button. I mean, it's
I know.
ingrained. So what
I know.
happens is because in that flow, and when you're in the flow, Chiksen Mihai is a great psychologist. It's a great blessing. When you're part of something much bigger than yourself, it gives you such creative energy. I can then manage with 3 hours sleep. I can go back to work with full energy. And people say, but that is a secret. When you give something, nature has a way of gifting you so much energy back. It is
Yeah.
something which we discover. I mean, why do we have hobbies or passions? Why is it that some people say I can do anything, but I need my half an hour of meditation, or it can be half an hour of dancing or singing or just sitting doing nothing. It gives you so much energy, right? So time management, I try to invest in activities which give me energy back also.
you.
And then I found that I mean, it's great. It's a blessing. This year, 5 books are coming, 5 translations. So So that is only the culmination of a lot of years hard work. But I think yeah, it's a skill, and it's a very conscious choice, and one
And
has to be
lastly, can you speak about your works other than translated work?
Yeah.
Your own works.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
mostly book.
I wrote a detective story, a detective novel actually. It's
Wow,
called
women into detective. The next step,
it's
the next
available in
stage.
Amazon. It's called Anklets at Sunset. Originally, it was about the three monkeys, don't see evil, don't speak evil, don't hear evil. Three old men sitting in a park bench. They happen to witness a murder. So one can't speak, one can't see, one can't hear. And so detective story. So when I pitched it as a short story, the publisher said, in an anthology, said, "Can you make it in a novel?" So this was long time before. So I converted into a novel. I was like, I was so thrilled when it came out as a book. Even I don't have a copy with me now. So that was one book which gave me a lot of joy. Then I wrote some essay collections based on my experience as an IS officer, humorous episodes of confusion of language and, funny episodes. And then short stories and spiritual stories for children. I have also written two translations from Malayalam and Hindi too. No, sorry, from English and Hindi to Malayalam. DC Books have published two of my works in Malayalam also. One is Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa's Discourses. C. Rajagopalachari had written his explanations about it in Tamil. His daughter Lakshmi Gandhi, married to Gandhiji's son, had translated it into Hindi. And one Deepavali, I was very sick, so I had nothing to do. So I translated Bangla to Tamil to Hindi wala kitab back to Malayalam. Then
Okay.
some spiritual poetry, Devatinde Pranaya Geethangal, love poems of God, Daniel Ladinsky's spiritual poetry of all the great saints, including Sufi saints, women, Saint Catherine of Siena, then so many, across, regardless of gender, whatever. So other ഒരു 120 കവിതകൾ ഞാൻ മലയാളത്തിലോട്ട് translate ചെയ്തു. So these are the part of the repertoire, which thank you, Sonia, for reminding me that I wrote a detective novel once.
And can you speak something about the latest work which is published, Exodus? The original work was published before
25 years
25
before.
years. Yeah.
Yeah. So BJ James and I, we have had a very successful journey together. I'm very grateful to him. And one of the books have made it into the JCB shortlist also. So we did 4 books together. And look at the irony of it. The first book, the Book of Exodus, was the first book we submitted for publication. But then at that time, nobody had heard of James outside Malayalam. And the difficulties sometimes regional, writers writing in our mother tongue space in the world, it is also a lesson. So the same book, nobody was giving us a go ahead. The literary agent was non-committal, publishing house was non-committal. But then James said, Minnie, I have enough belief in the power of words. So we started with Anti-Clock. And Anti-Clock ended up in the JCB shortlist. Suddenly everybody wanted Book of Exodus. But this time James was very clear. I'm not going to give the book to whoever rejected it first. I mean, I salute him for that, that sense of pride. He says, I will give it to somebody who respects it for what it's worth. So Penguin had not rejected it before. Penguin had not seen it before. So we went with Penguin. And Penguin gave us multiple book deal. And today we have published 4 books together. So the trust in Akshara, something indestructible. And the skepticism sometimes which publishing industry have about strong voices of the language. And today, suddenly, once a voice is recognized, it is all the market which works. But sometimes, but today I'm very, very glad there are very sensitive editors and dedicated translation imprints. But originally, it was a lot of struggle. Originally, the translator's name would appear only in the back cover. If you remember, my first 2 books, K.R. Mira's translation, my name is in the back cover. Now it has come in the front cover. Now I have to fight for the font size. Please make me visible.
Yeah.
This is what I say.
Yeah.
The font size is so small sometimes.
And the photo, the picture.
Yeah. So, I mean, very, very interesting conversations about even now, second-class citizens in the world of creativity.
And, Minnie, in our book,
Yeah.
some of my, one of my friends asked me whether this book has been translated by M. Mukundan, because Ministry's name is smaller than M. Mukundan's name.
So the power of, visual, whatever. So the
you
shift
should
in
try for
perception,
that.
I'm dreaming about it. If, the Deborah Smith, who translated Hankan, who won the Nobel Prize, not vegetarian, whatever.
Yeah.
So Deborah Smith is from Oxford. And once See, we would not have read Han Kang in Malayalam or English had Deborah Smith
course,
not
yeah.
translated her. And today the
Of
world
course.
is cherishing her wonderful books. I love the books. Now, Deborah Smith has started Tilted Access Press in England, exclusively for encouraging world translations. So we need investment,
Yeah.
for different voices and to recognize and respect. Unless the author, I have to thank Sonia, you and Sheela for having 100% trust in me. Without that faith, without the deep faith, when a translator says, okay, let's edit the sentence or let's merge this, unless you have the openness of understanding, it is not my ego speaking. It is that I want the best to come forth to a non-Malayali speaker, unless the trust and faith is there, unless we work as a team. Unless you understand you're the mother, but I'm the foster mother of your child and love your child equally well. Unless that faith is there, no book can come forth. So the respect both of you gave to me as a translator helped me to translate it. So this is one request I would make. There's a lot of unseen hard work. Let me tell you, we toiled and struggled. And and we don't do it for the name or the recognition. The font size is irrelevant. The joy of, somebody reading a book, Sonia, somebody saying, no, everybody read Tipu, go create a herbarium tomorrow. That is what I dream of, And Sheila, when somebody does a PhD thesis on, on your book, and that is then we are bringing, then the whole purpose of our coming together has been served. Goes back to the ikigai. Sabin, I think you should come in or you'll end up having us talking throughout the day.
Yeah.
No, I think this was such a beautiful conversation. Loved hearing you speak in Malayalam as well. And Ministry, talking about translations, it's, we've read translations of colonial languages, and it is so important, and I'm thinking of writing an article on that, because we've always been, from school, in schools as well, where and of course there's beauty in English literature as well, or American literature or European literature, but we still are not aware of this immense body of work that has been written in our languages. I had the privilege of going to a school that celebrated the Urdu language, and we read Maulvi Abdul Haq or Dipti Nazir Ahmad, which weren't taught in other schools. So and a lot of times, our languages, as a because that is how optics work, and that is how colonialism work, that they basically covertly or otherwise they entrench that. I don't know if it's called shame or something, but you have like a higher regard for a colonial language. And now that I'm read in adulthood, I'm reading literature, African literature, or translated works. So it's so important to bring that in, not just in the English language, but other languages as well, so that people have access and they know that the greatness of our thinkers and our writers. And that is the bridge we need. Like Sonia said, that writers and translators, they're creating this bridge. So yes, thank you to all three of you for writing in your language, and Ministry for translating and bringing that to us. Because I loved Sonia when she read in Malayalam, but when it came to me in English, I was so beautiful. And same with the case with Sheila's writing. It brought so much joy listening to it. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So thank you, Sabin, for
thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for giving us this great opportunity. And I think you're doing a great work.
Thank you for coming on board and sharing your thoughts and the wonderful things that you all are doing.